Hi everyone, this is a very quick video to review the material on prehistoric history and for the final lesson before we take our exams. So we talked about music being used as a method of communication which aided in survival, and music used as ritual which also aided in survival in that it formed community, strengthened community, and banding together is one of the reasons that we survived. Having the courage to go out into the scary world, such as that caveman did after that attack. Well, this segment talks about what kind of instruments might have been used. And we have 4 instrument families today: the brass, the string, the percussion, and the wind. We've seen a lot of demonstration of percussion, and yes, in class a lot of people said that they might have used sticks and stones, and at first, for sure, they did. Eventually, these will become skins stretched over hollow objects, and things like drying out vegetables when you let squashes dry out and the seeds inside stay in them. They become shakers and rattles, or eventually things like maracas. So percussion is definitely one that should be mentioned. But the other ones I'd like to focus on, for example, the brass family. Often people who play the trumpet, such as myself, when people discuss the fact that they play the trumpet, they'll say they're a horn player. And think about it, horn player. Yes. The original brass family came often from the horns of animals, more things laying around the campfire that were used to create new sounds. And these sounds traveled very well across far distances. And so the brass family not only was used very long time ago, but, well, my father was a bugler in the army. So still, the brass family used in modern times for military uses and many others. But this is done by buzzing on a big shell or a horn of some kind and creating very strong vibrations in the instrument, the horn. And then that is amplified and sent out far distances. The string family came from the bow and arrow. So as soon as prehistoric man invented things like hunting tools that helped, such as bows and arrows, they also found that they made really cool sounds when you plucked on the strings. So the bow and arrow, not coincidentally, is shaped just like the harp, or just like the grand piano today, because the bow and arrow is actually the great-great-grandparent of all the string family instruments. And wind. Many of us discovered wind instruments when we blew across a water bottle and found that it made a really cool sound. And so did prehistoric man, when blowing wind across hollow objects, find that it made a cool sound. So the wind is on the mouthpiece of a flute, cut in half by some of it going into the mouthpiece and some of it shooting out over the top. And when that wind gets cut in half right at that corner where the air hits the metal, the vibration occurs and causes the instrument to amplify the sound. Wind instruments, stringed instruments, brass instruments, and percussion instruments all started their journey in prehistoric times. The other part of the history of music in prehistoric times lesson that we need to just touch base on quickly is the idea of healing with music. On that chart on page 3 that you had the homework for, you might notice that in the music section, when Homo sapiens arrive, there is a mention of a shaman who is a priest, a magician, a musician, an artist. This person is the wisdom or wise person of the group. And shaman appear very early, 30,000 years ago. And still to this day, the idea of healing with music exists. Of course, shamans were also expected to cause bad things to happen using the arts, because in the rituals before a battle, they would want to cause the enemy to fail during the battle. Today, we see music used to heal in much more pleasant ways and not to cause harm. For example, in Harvard, they did many studies and are now using music to aid in paralysis, people who are paralyzed as a result of stroke. Many studies are working with autism, and they are now using music to teach as a literal tool. Music therapists are taking jobs in hospitals all around the world and literally use music to heal people. We'll talk more about this in class, but for right now, make sure that you've looked at that page 3. Know the word shaman as somebody who uses the arts in the rituals to cause healing, hopefully, but sometimes not a good thing. And that you have a definite idea of where the 4 instrument families came from in prehistoric time. See you later.